on the other side of it, we have some of the students that wouldn't even touch the assignment. Now, at least they have some idea of what's happening. So maybe as a whole, we have more people that are a little bit more engaged.
That was the voice of Mahdis Smith, the guest on this episode of The Knowledge Mill. I'm your host, Greg Yoakum. Mahdis is an AI adoption strategist and doctoral candidate specializing in the organizational applications of AI. Her research investigates how AI technologies influence the sense of autonomy and task completion and decision-making within organizations. With a strong focus on maintaining critical thinking while driving innovation, her work explores the adoption journey of GenAI and AI-assisted digital clones among leaders and knowledge workers in Australia. Drawing on a background in consultancy, Mahdis brings a multidisciplinary approach to understanding complex organizational dynamics. Her career spans roles in research, education, industry, and consultancy, with experience facilitating workshops and collaborating in projects within the public and private sectors. At the time of our conversation, Mahdis was preparing for her PhD thesis submission at Griffith University. As AI is a hot topic for discussion in academia and other fields, we found ourselves unpacking her research from unexpected but interesting angles. I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. This episode of The Knowledge Mill was recorded on the Nathan campus of Griffith University in Brisbane on June 9th, 2025. Show notes, including links to more information on some of the topics that Mahdis and I discuss, can be found at theknowledgemill.com/episode 17. That's episode and the numerals 1 and 7. Hello, Mahdis. Welcome to the program.
Hello, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We are here on the grounds of your beautiful campus at Griffith Uni, the Nathan campus specifically in Brisbane. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me and share your story today.
Thank you for having me at the Knowledge Mill.
Absolutely. We can dive right in. Could you tell us how you found yourself doing a PhD?
Yes, that's a very long story. I think growing up, I was always fascinated with the concept of writers and philosophers and how they created knowledge that didn't exist before. And, how then later on scientists did experiments, had a theory, proved it. I think I liked the idea the whole time, but I did my bachelor, started working a little bit. And whilst I was doing my MBA, I thought to myself, I really want to do something more. And my thesis was about how recency, frequency, and monetary options can help clinical organizations or clinics to adopt CRM, which is to do with patient relationship management, and how does that impact the health, in system as a whole. And I later on with my job, I was in oil and gas companies. I was able to consult a couple of them to also do the same thing, to adopt the CRM. So it was something interesting to me. And in the end of 2018, I moved to Australia, to Brisbane, and I was thinking of pursuing something similar within the technology adoption and business models in here as a PhD thesis. So that was a story of its own, to find, the academics that are interested have the capacity, they're not overloaded with their PhD student already. So, that took a while, but I started with UQ. I was a research assistant there, and then ended up here. And I'm in my third year, and looking forward to submission.
Yeah, fair enough. You and I were speaking a little bit before we started recording about just all the moving parts here at the end.
Yes.
How are you finding navigating all of that?
It feels like a long mountain climbing where you sometimes forget where was the base camp, how did it start, where did you, what equipment you used, what did you have to learn along the way. Yes, but one thing, I think a couple of things that were lucky for me was that firstly, I really liked my topic. And it has started evolving more and more because it was about how leaders and knowledge workers are applying AI in their decision makings and task completions. And, by the time where I was starting to, do my data, collect my data, OpenAI launched. So I had
perfect timing.
I had heaps more participants. So that really helped. And it was a topic of a day. Everyone wanted to be part of it and contribute to it. So, yes. And I think the other parts that I was really lucky about was my supervisory team, that I cannot say how supportive they were, because this is one of the areas that puts off a lot of PhD candidates. And I've had different roles within my PhD, like a HDR rep, and I've been on different committees, and this is a thing that I hear. It's very caring, and so in that sense I had a smooth journey.
Which is kind of as good as you could ask for, a smooth journey.
Yes.
And it makes all the difference when you have supportive supervisors as well.
Yes.
So what you were saying before, when you started the PhD, did you kind of come at it, you tried to find supervisors first? Is that how it worked?
I didn't know actually where should I start. I didn't know. Like, I had my proposal ready to go. And I would try to engage with different academics in different schools. Like, at that point, I didn't mind if it's in Sydney, Brisbane, or other cities. So I would reach out to different academics and see, if that could be a fit. Because with PhD, you have to have a supervisor that wants to do that research. You can't just simply apply.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that took a while, I think, for me to navigate how it works and speak to a couple of people who are doing their PhD. That really helped a lot. And most people I speak to, they were like, "Why live your life?
Why would you do this to yourself?"
Yes, but when you want to do it, you know that you want to do it.
The other way of phrasing the first question I ask, how did you find yourself doing a PhD, is who did this to you?
I know. I keep asking that question from myself. Why did I do this to myself? I had a good life.
It is one of those wild things where the freedom is a two-sided coin, right? Where you can pick a topic that's very interesting to you, and in your case, very topical, and then even more topical when OpenAI came along. But the flip side to that is what you were speaking to just then, that you don't know what you don't know. And so you were fortunate you had contact with other PhD candidates. I didn't have that when I started mine. I was just, what I did have is a relationship with the professor who went on to be my supervisor. He had taught me in my master's. But if I hadn't had that, I'm not even sure I would have considered the possibility, because I just couldn't even see myself. I just didn't even know what it looked like.
I guess that's very true, because when I come across to a lot of people that they've done their bachelor's, done the honor, and then doing their PhD, it's such a linear and clean path to do your PhD. Mine definitely didn't look like that.
They try to make it look straightforward. With the pathways and everything. But I don't think you would be able to find one PhD candidate who that first timeline they made in year one, they actually stuck to the whole way through. Or even their research topic.
Exactly. I had to do a year of business research studies because the master's, I had an MBA, so it wasn't a master's, so I required half of my modules to be research based. So that was interesting as well. So you
and I actually had I was the same. I did the MBA, so I didn't do a research master's. And that was kind of the uphill battle actually of even just getting accepted to the uni. They're very reticent to take people who have no research experience. You have to have someone really believe in you. But then the nice thing is, if that person is your supervisor, then they only took you on because they think you can do it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That makes all the difference, I think. Well, could we circle back and hear a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of your research and what you've been looking at?
Yes, absolutely. So, if you're talking about technology adoption as a whole, it's very different to AI is very different to the precedent technologies, and the reason for that is they have different characteristics, and they also what's happened with the recent companies is that because it's not costing similar amount that it used to have, and it's available, and it does not require same amount of training for organizations. So all of a sudden, it has been adopted widely more than the other technologies.
Yeah.
It has even taken over mobile phones, but because it's integrated into a mobile phone, it's a very different story. So what also my research showed was that I wanted to know if the leaders and knowledge workers who are using GenAI and the technologies that are coming after AI, for example, in my experiment, I wanted to know if they are how would they react if they had a AI digital clone that's integrated into the CRM system, and it's telling them, like, kind of assisting them throughout the workday, and to understand how different it is for them, for their team, and how much it makes a difference in their whole workday life cycle. It is very interesting because the difference with AI with other technologies is, firstly, it's integrated with a lot of other technologies like cloud, with computation type of jobs that the person is doing. So the reliance is very more complicated than other technologies, as if, for example, if you would say, I just use Pipeline to manage my clients and send them automated marketings every Monday morning. That's automated. That's all done. So yes, there are lots of differences.
That's right. And I'm finding that it's actually hard these days, even just as an everyday person, to avoid AI.
Yes.
It just seems to be popping up everywhere, being integrated into all the software and hardware that I'm already using, even if I don't want it.
Yeah. Yes, that's a number one question. Like every forum, or for example, if it's a symposium or if it's a panel, I get asked that question a lot, and knowledge workers mainly want to know how to use it best, especially if in their organizations there hasn't been a pathway for it and they had to figure it out themselves. In those situations, there's no distinction between what's considered high risk, what's considered low risk, what's high impact, what's low impact in terms of the adoption. And yes, I usually say, so you're one step ahead from other people because you're asking the question, you've started adopting, using the prompts and, practicing. But the next step would be to get more involved. If you think you can learn AI engineering, if not, try to use the low-code platforms that's got to do with your specific specialty. If you're a doctor, if you're an accountant, regardless of what exactly you're doing.
Yeah.
And so
I find that it's quite, because I'm not anti-AI by any means.
yes,
But what I would enjoy is I feel like it's not quite to where it needs to be useful to me.
yes,
In terms of the technology and the sophistication of the technology.
yes,
And, obviously I'm a use case of one. I'm an academic, and what I would like to use it for would be time-consuming tasks that I have to do in my job. For example, I would love it if an AI bot could reply to a student when they email me to say, I'm sick and I won't be coming to a tutorial.
yes.
I would love it if the bot could receive that email, reply to the student, this has been noted and approved, and then ticked off their attendance is excused somewhere. And so those kind of time-consuming admin tasks are automated, basically. but it's not there yet.
Yes. Yeah. So it is a very, I think, one of those easy tasks that could be done. But I think that's the other part that the university needs to integrate it into the processes, because, and I speak to, like I teach different courses, and they feel the same. They want that to be done too. They want to hear as soon as possible, because they're very poor in time as well, you know.
Or if they're falling behind, they're getting stressed. And I try to maintain work-life balance, so I only check email once a day on weekdays. If they email me on a Saturday, they're not going to hear from me until Monday, but AI could get back to them straight away.
In real time.
So I definitely see the potential. But it's interesting what you said about how, because even just in that example I just gave you, immediately there's privacy concerns, right? Because usually a student would forward on, say, a medical certificate. And if there's not, if we don't know what's happening on the cloud when everything is processing, and where that's a private document, a medical certificate, it has a lot of personal information about the student. So all of that would have to be handled appropriately as well. And I haven't been trained on what I can and can't use, for example, ChatGPT to do.
That's all. That's got to do with the organizational AI governance and AI literacy, and that was part of my data collection too. And a lot of knowledge workers were actually desperate, asking their leaders that they want to know how to use it. Should they use Copilot more often, or should they lean towards ChatGPT, Claude, or any other platform? And I think that's a big request that needs to be responded.
It just seems to have come on so fast.
And
then it was just everywhere. And just no one even had time to, right when you're thinking like, oh, what is this? It's just, oh, there's no avoiding it. And so I think it's going to be a challenge. Probably one of the big challenges of our generation is to work out responsible ways of using it. I mean, this is all the big one, of course, for us as educators is using AI for assessments. This is something that I've been thinking about for the past year, because it's just over the ChatGPT popped up 3 or 4 years ago. Is that 2022. Okay.
November.
And I remember reading, speaking of the growth, I remember reading at the time that it set new records for people signing up, like even more than Facebook when it went global. In terms of people signing up for accounts. But it's I've noticed in those 3 years, the first year not so much, the second year a few but not many, but this year for whatever reason just a lot of I can't prove it that they've used ChatGPT to write, for example, an essay, but I know they did.
It's very obvious, isn't it?
And I've been reading some very interesting articles about, and I'll try to avoid this turning into a conversation about ChatGPT in the classroom, but because that's a whole other animal. But I've been reading some interesting, on the point about ethics and responsible use, some interesting articles, because I try to understand different perspectives when there's something like this, when there's a wicked problem like this. And I've been reading the perspective of students who are just very open about, I use ChatGPT to write all my assignments, and I just tweak it a bit to make it sound more like me, and I don't see anything wrong with that. And then they have their reasons and their justifications for not seeing anything wrong with it. But it occurs to me that the problem actually in the education context isn't even about responsible use of ChatGPT. It speaks to a bigger problem, I think, about what is education. Because people, they seem to be students, undergrad students these days, seem to, rightly or wrongly, I don't know, seem to think that the more useful skill is being able to write a good prompt than writing a good essay.
I can't agree more. But on the other side of it, we have some of the students that wouldn't even touch the assignment. Now, at least they have some idea what's happening. So maybe as a whole, we have more people that are a little bit more engaged, a little bit more knowledgeable, and some that would, you always have that 2-3% that are really engaged, really into it, really want to learn more.
Yes.
So I think as a whole, it might do some
Yeah.
better things. But I can agree with you, like the whole education system and what are we trying to do and how to improve it. Yes, as a whole, yes.
The only, if the problem is people are using ChatGPT for assignments, then the solution is make it so that all the assignments are done in class and it minimizes the opportunity for them to do that. But that inherently changes the nature then of what we're doing in class and how they're learning and engaging with the material. And to the point that you were just speaking to, not everybody learns best in these standardized ways.
Yes.
Some people are very good at writing essays, reports. Some people are very good at presentations. Some people like in-class quizzes, and other people they stress out. They want to memorize the things, do the quiz, and then they didn't learn anything. So it's interesting. That's quite an optimistic perspective. That if it lowers the barriers to understanding,
yes,
I think that's a good thing. That's a positive thing.
Yes. For example, how I used it in my PhD was to understand more theories that I couldn't possibly even dream of, And then if I was interested in something, I would read more. And if I wasn't, I knew that I wasn't.
Yeah. It could kind of give you the overview and you went from there.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think what we've uncovered here is that there's many different uses and applications for AI. Did any of this come out in your research?
Yes. Within the academia, for example, a lot of people refer to ChatGPT as their a smart assistant or a smart research assistant, and but as we mentioned before, that responsible use side of it has not been still fully addressed in all the organizations. So there's a lot of work to be done there. But some of the applications that are out there or platforms that are out there, for example, like Research Rabbit, have you used it?
No, I haven't.
I think it's a very low risk AI that can bring together all the papers that are out there that are within the keywords that you use, like for your constructs. And it's one of the really, really good tools that many PhD candidates really can benefit from. And especially in the first 6 months that you're like, what am I doing now? Like, how many papers am I supposed to study? Like, what's happening? And you're just questioning every move that you're doing at that time because you're thinking of different models. What am I supposed to do? Should I be doing qualitative, quantitative, if, multi-methods, mixed methods, all those questions. This is something that could clarify it a little bit, because once you go down to that stream of systematic literature review on its own, it's an ocean itself. So at least with that regards, I found it to be very much better than a very well-known databases that are out there.
Yeah, right.
Yes, so you can obviously complement it with those databases, but it gives you a much better overview of whatever topic you're researching. Yes.
And that could be as well, because one of the challenges in academia, if anyone listening is not in academia, they may not know that different unis have different access to these different databases and not access to all of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe it would help overcome some of those access challenges as well.
Yes, exactly. Because especially with the systematic literature reviews, sometimes people get rejected because a specific paper was not included in there, where in reality they didn't have access to it. They thought they were thorough.
I'm in the middle of doing a lit review right now with some colleagues, and there's, even though we're at two different unis in two different countries, there's still been kind of, I think our review is N equals 130 or something at the moment, and there's still 3 or 4 that we just haven't been able to. But we've resorted now to emailing the authors and just hoping they can send the article to us, which is just an unnecessary layer of, we're going to spend so much more time getting those last 3 or 4 articles
than the whole process.
Which in the end we may not even, once we have the articles, they may not even be included. They may not meet the criteria. So just wild. But yeah, so it could save a lot of time that way. And that's where something that's always struck me as odd about academia is that you do a lit review and you do it the way that you do it for whatever reason. You bound it by time or topic or industry or whatever. And then as soon as you publish it, it's obsolete.
Exactly.
And new stuff has come along. Whereas if there was, I guess, like an AI bot that I could go and talk to, and it's always up to date.
Yes.
And everything is there in terms of, because there's some concerns obviously about the text that some of these bots are trained on has been sourced from dubious means. The word stolen is used a lot in those conversations. But if it could be done responsibly, if there was some way of getting all the journals together and contributing to a database like that could always be up to the minute, that could really change the face of research, full stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are there any other tools, if anyone out there is thinking about doing a PhD or maybe they're just getting started, any other AI tools that they should consider or ways of integrating it into their workflow?
Yeah, so I would not recommend ChatGPT on its own, especially if they want to learn a specific theory or something, that's fine. But because as PhD candidates, we as a students generally, we have access to Microsoft Teams, so we have access to Copilot, and it's a little bit more layered in terms of the data security side of things. So that would be my recommendation, instead of using ChatGPT and to never copy and paste their work into for the sake of proofreading or editing or rewriting or something like that. Because so I usually say, like, do not copy paste anything more than 2 lines, because that's your work.
Yeah, that's right.
Another tool I really like to talk about is MaxQDA versus NVivo.
Sure.
Do you use NVivo a lot?
I used NVivo, in my PhD.
Did you enjoy it? Be honest.
No. In fact, I liked it so little that in the end, I ended up just making a spreadsheet in Excel.
Yes,
I found that to make more sense to my brain. Yeah.
Yes. So, MaxQDA is really fun, and I really enjoyed my data analysis using MaxQDA. You don't lose your data as well.
Well, that's
it
handy.
Doesn't crash. It crashed once, only it was my fault. It wasn't MaxQDA fault. I take full responsibility for that. Yes.
How does it for anyone who's not familiar with these programs, these are data analysis tools, qualitative data analysis tools.
Yes.
NVivo's been kind of the standard for a long time in terms of pulling different types of data, but mostly text data, putting it into different categories, buckets, themes, and organizing it in different ways. What is this other app like? Yeah,
so the first type of, the model that I was using, I wasn't using the AI, so you had to pay a little bit more with that to be professional. But then they updated it for the student access as well, like I think last year. So what it does, parallel to qualitative, is you can also use it for quantitative. So if you're a mixed methodologist, you can also use it. And it's got so many different layers of analysis that is amazing. And the whole coding process is much more fun because they've got emojis, and they've applied different tools that the way you can code your transcript. It's just more fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yes. You can use emojis, and that would become your kind of like sentiment analysis. And you've got much more layers in terms of
And so what is the how does AI play a part there? What is it doing?
The AI part it could be good for the times where you just want to have your main themes, but I found it to be not as good as, you can do it for certain parts where you're thinking, oh, where should I put this? Because it doesn't go and find the themes that you've already found. It brings up something new, and necessarily it doesn't cluster them together. So it's just standalone. So it doesn't. Sometimes it's good because then you think, oh, I thought it could go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just reads the sentiment and then comes up with a specific title for that.
Okay.
Part
right.
of the text. Yeah.
So it kind of helps you organize things, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. You have to go over it again. I don't trust it on its own. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's any academic who has integrated AI into their workforce has always said the same thing, that the AI is useful but stupid. And you have to constantly be checking its work. Yes. But I guess that's where you find your efficiencies. You're still coming out ahead if you...
Yes.
The little bit that I've used AI in my work has been as a second brain. And it's not, as we said just now, a terribly useful brain, but it is a different perspective. And I'll give you the example of I was working on my promotion application this semester. I was applying to go from lecturer to senior lecturer, and for various reasons I decided not to put that in. But I did a lot of the legwork, and a lot of the legwork is in connecting the work that you've done with the strategy of the uni and the faculty. And so I can do that myself, of course, go in and see that here's a strategic initiative for social justice and the XYZ things that I do align with that. And I did all of that as a first move. But then I took it to ChatGPT and I copied in, here's all the strategic initiatives of the uni. Here's my CV. I happen to have I had just gone through my probation review, so I happened to have a 3-page document that was just a summary of my achievements for the past 3 years. And so I dropped that in there as well. And most of what it spit back was not useful. But there were a couple of nuggets in there that, I'm not sure I would have connected that. And so in that way it was. But I think that's an instance of you're still using it as a tool because you still have to go and check it. And you still have to engage with it critically in that way to work out, can I use this? Can I not use this? Should I use this?
Yes. Yeah. So I really like the example of you mentioned that I use it like my second brain. If we think of most of our skills, for example, if you're drawing something, it's like a skill that it's an extension of your brain because you're imagining something and then you're drawing something. It's an extension. So it's the same way. Yeah. It's not perfect when you use AI, but I think at some point the hybrid AI human team will achieve more and more than
that's right.
So at the same time that we expect AI to become better, we have to become better too, to use it better. It's exactly a skill. Yeah,
that's right. And that's where I try not to be too cynical, but I do get a bit nervous that if people are using it irresponsibly, going back to those student perspectives about using ChatGPT that I mentioned before, a lot of people said they didn't see how it was different to using a calculator to do math. And I was reading it and my wife was sitting next to me. I was just like, what are these people talking about? You have to understand the math to use a calculator. The calculator makes it faster. It's a tool to speed up the process, but you have to understand the underlying math.
Logic.
And that's what I worry if people go all in on AI and they don't understand where the text is coming from in the case of large language models. They don't understand how it's doing what it's doing and why it's doing it that way. Then we might go through the looking glass a little bit and we'll be, I'm painting it with a very broad brush here, we'll have a lot of people using AI who do not understand what it is spitting back out.
Yeah. My take on that, because this is not our concern only as academics. It's when you talk about this to all the other experts, like in arts, in filmmaking, in any other experts, they don't understand the genres, they don't understand the philosophy behind it. Yeah. But yes, they're pretty good at producing some AI produced art or movie and that's, I think, the time where we have to change our views as well, because maybe they're learning backwards.
It's
we
possible.
Should be okay with that. Yeah. They first, learn how to use it this way, and then they learn the logic. Kind of like when we, learn how to talk, then we to learn the grammar,
That's true. That's true.
So
yeah, my 4-year-old son is working on that right now. We're still working on pronouns, he, she. Everybody is he at the moment, so we're still working on that. But yeah, absolutely. He knows the words.
Yes.
But he doesn't quite. He only has he's heard them in context.
Yeah.
And so he does his best, but he doesn't know why he would use one in a certain context versus another. That's an interesting way of thinking about it. And that's where another interesting thing about AI to me is it's one of the few technologies that can teach you how to use it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I find that fascinating.
Yes.
You could actually ask, and I have asked ChatGPT, how could you help me? I have these tasks to do. What can you help me with? And it told me, and it at that time wasn't terribly useful to me, but it told me what it could do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing those insights from your research. You are here at the business end of the PhD, finishing up the last fiddly bits and writing the thesis. A question that I like to ask people who are at the end is, if you could go back and talk to yourself when you were starting, what advice would you give yourself?
Yes, that's an interesting one. Well, for myself, I know the why. So I would skip to the how and the what. Firstly, the what and then the how. So it is important to know that exactly what I wanted to achieve out of it, not only as a project, but also as an impact. And what can also take me there. I had no idea the amount of learning that was involved in the mixed method, learnings and, just the design of everything, because, it's just a lot of learning. If you just want to do a qualitative, what tools you need, some of the tools that are already there that we talked about, like NVivo and MaxQDA, to have the courage of saying, I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use something that's more relevant and better. And also, that contributes a lot to how you want to allocate your time in terms of how much do I want to learn, who should I speak to. A lot of mentoring as well is involved, because most of us think that our supervisors are the key to all the answers, and sometimes we really exhaust them, where we could ask our peers, we could ask even industry experts in our area that could have a lot to share with us, and that makes the whole journey much easier. So those would be the things that I would, and one very good thing that I would do, because my supervisor actually told me, you're not changing the world, just do this as a project. And I did not listen. But I would just simplify it better for myself.
I mean, but you probably wouldn't even heed that advice. You would get carried away again and get ambitious again.
Because that's true.
I feel the same. If I could just go back, and I made a terrible blunder in the first kind of year and a half of my PhD, where I did my PhD by publications, and the first article that I tried to do was a conceptual framework. And I developed this, and I spent so much time, we sent it to 3 different journals. It never got accepted anywhere. Eventually we had to just decide this was not going to happen. But I wasted, is a better word, so much time for something that never got published, and it only became kind of I did end up using it in my thesis as kind of a suggested future direction for research. But if I went back and told myself, don't bother with the conceptual framework, I think what I would actually hear is, I didn't do it the right way. I'm going to do the framework. I'm going to do it the right way. Yeah, that's right. So I'm not sure if I would listen to myself. But yeah, it's nice to think that. The interesting thing, right, and you sort of spoke to this just then, is that eventually in your PhD, you start off, and your supervisors know much more about your topic area, but then because you're focused on a very niche and novel thing, eventually you get to that threshold where you know more about it than them.
True, yes.
And that's where you have to reach out to other experts and start growing especially, is your ambition to stay in academia?
Well, I take the best offer, be it academia, government, industry.
Yeah.
Very open.
But sounds like you're a purpose-driven person. You want to find a job that where you can make a difference.
Yes, yeah. So I think in that sense, government usually could be a better place because you could impact policy. But as I mentioned, I'm very, I don't restrict myself. Yeah.
Just see what's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's good advice for anyone out there listening who is about to get started or is thinking about starting. Is just don't overdo it. The best piece of advice I got in my PhD, and I've probably said this in every episode of this podcast, is someone told me just do one PhD.
Yes, yeah.
I think I landed at 1.5, which I felt pretty good about. But a lot of people do. Well, as soon as you're doing mixed methods, that's almost like doing 2 PhDs.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot more work in terms of the method and the experimental design and the data collection, and it's a lot.
Fun parts of it, yes.
Yes.
I love data collection. I really enjoyed data collection.
What form did that take for you? Were you doing some interviews or?
Yeah, so I did some 34 interviews, and with the same people, I applied the experiment, which was putting them into two groups of forecasters and experiences, where forecasters would not imagine that they would use this digital clone for their team, and they would just imagine the differences with another team that has adopted that AI digital clone. So,
right.
Yes, yeah.
That's an interesting way of going about it.
Yes, yes.
Could I ask, did anything surprise you in your research?
Yes, I thought that the amount of reliance that I will see in my data would be much more, because that's what I assumed it would be. But the perception of adopters, because firstly, I should point out that these were really, really people that were at top of their game. So that there's a bias there on its own, because it can't be applicable to a larger community. So these are professionals that really rely, for example, if they were in data science, in their analytical tools, the logic, but still there was a glimpse of, I'm worried about if I lose that sense of logic, if I rely on Copilot or other tools for Claude for coding a lot. So I thought I would find more reliance factors there. But that might change if I go back and it's even, experiment the same with the same people, because it's since then a lot has changed. So, for example, just recently we had the CEO of Zoom appearing with their, digital clone instead of themselves. So, so it's becoming more and more adopted and normalized in organizations. So
and so quickly. That's I know we talked about that before, but it just blows me away how quickly it's moved and become normalized.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it won't go away. So most of the, adoption models end somewhere and then something else comes and takes over, but we just have the same AI changing from large language models to AI agents. Then we have like digital clones, we have the different types that just flows around our tasks and in our work lives.
I'm wondering if if we ever did, if you had your digital clone and I had my digital clone, and if they could record a podcast episode.
They could, but this was my final question, that if this was a digital clone of myself, would you have participated in this? And no one said yes. So you would have, lost me in the first minute.
Yeah.
So I think if we both had our digital clones, yes, that could have, that was a fair game. But
I wonder how, if anyone would want to listen. I guess that's the next big question, hey?
Yes.
But then it's, that speaks to, there are some things, the motivation for me, I was telling you the story about why I started this podcast before we started recording. The motivation for me was to do the work. So this is an element of my work that I wouldn't want to outsource to AI. I would want to be doing this myself. And that means that I fly to conferences and do this, and fly to Brisbane and do this. And that's not easy or cheap, but it's also not that the process is what's interesting to me. And I like going through that. I wouldn't want to outsource that. I wouldn't even want to have like a second person doing these somewhere else just so I could have more episodes. I want to be doing the work.
Yes,
Yeah.
so you're in it for the experience of it, and this process is special to you. But imagine if you weren't a people person and it was a component of your job that you really had to tick it off, then you would love AI to take that over from you.
That's true. That would be the best if I had an extroverted AI clone. That would be fantastic.
Yes.
Well, I feel like that's a nice place to kind of draw that part of the conversation to a close and move into the final two questions that I ask everybody. And the first one is, what's on the horizon for you? And you've spoken a bit about, for example, your career ambitions. But in terms of conferences or travel or publications, what's on the horizon?
Yeah, so I have participated in a couple of conferences during my candidature. So at this stage, I just want to finish, submit, live my life. but yes, in terms of the publications, I had one through with my literature review, and I'm waiting for the other two to come back so that I can use them as part of my thesis. And I have a couple of more in the waiting line that were rejected a few times.
All part of the process.
Yes. So just working on those as well. And nothing exciting, no conferences, nothing coming up.
Just very much eyes on the prize.
Eyes on the prize, yes.
Yeah, that's at a certain point you have to just stop everything else. Even like I stopped teaching toward the end, just to focus up. And
I have done that a little bit. Like I've told everyone I can't take on more responsibilities. I just need to go in my cocoon and just write.
That's right.
Yeah.
The last question that I ask everybody is, what is something not related to your PhD? Maybe for you it's hard because we just talked about how you're trying to focus up, but something not related to your PhD that you're excited about at the moment.
So a project that I really love is I have a children book series.
Oh, fun.
Yes, and I've made more money than out of any other publications. So there's a series of 5 tiny seahorses, and I cannot wait. The 5th is out there that I just want to be attending to it sometime after submitting my thesis.
Yeah.
So I do the illustrations myself. That's very therapeutic for me.
Okay.
And they're COVID babies, so they really saved me during that time to be. I kind of lived with them, the characters, and so. And they symbolize diversity and inclusivity, acceptance, which are really, really important for me. And so I wanted my seahorses to talk about that with the children.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's really beautiful. I'll have to find those because I think my son would really like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much once again for taking the time to sit down and talk with me. I mentioned to you before we started recording that I've been to conferences to do these, but this is the first time that I've taken an interstate trip for the sole purpose of recording some podcast episodes, and this is the first one that I'm doing. So it feels exciting to be here with you on your campus as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel really honored to be part of this, and I've listened to multiple of your episodes, and I'm really happy that I've been part of this. Thank you so much.